follow-up to that one, Carzzy did win Kia Player of the Game. Great team fights. Great, fantastic.
Wait, we're hitting him with this one?
Yes!
No!
Yes!
Ruthless!
And the pinnacle of League of Legends has been witnessed here on the LEC stage. Bro. There it is, Kia Player of the Game. Huh.
Well, the other plays were really good. I don't know why that was the one we decided to show off.
Because that was the one that people will remember. And that's
I'll
what's
remember
important.
it. I was laughing for like 30 seconds.
Right, but enough about Mad Lions, Rogue. Our names came up. So that's Chrissy.
Yep.
I'm Dracos, a.k.a. this is Ender.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Well, there you go. Smash that like for more really int plays. We're getting ready for Misfits Gaming versus Origen. And this is one, I'm excited about this one for a lot of reasons. Because one, Origen, I think, still need to show us more. That was kind of...
Yep.
We've literally fought about Misfits, and you almost got in a fist fight with Gyoto yesterday about Origen. This is just teams we're fighting about. This is so great.
The worst part is me and Gyoto, we get along great, you know? We took
just
pictures
not in front of a camera.
Not in front of a camera. We were just, relentless with one another.
Spotlight's on. You just gotta drum it up.
Eventually, I think I'll have to get him in the ring and between Wyverns or something, make sure he...
Yeah, I was glad that you followed that with between Wyverns. I was like, I don't know if...
Get him in the ring?
I don't know if the hand-to-hand favors you there, bud.
I've got the reach.
You've got the reach, okay.
He can't touch me.
All right,
no,
well,
okay.
Back to League of Legends. I think Misfits Gaming is a team that I'll say cautiously optimistic about their growth, their development as we move later in the split. And Origen, once again, the goalposts for Origen are very different. This is a team that the expectation is they will contest top 3. There's no doubt there, but the true goal is contesting G2. So very different goals for both these teams.
Yeah, and the big thing there that we're sort of taking away of the discussions around Origen is just wanting them to see and take more opportunities. Because in a lot of these situations, they have very strong drafts where they scale well into the late game and don't have to be forced to do a whole lot. But when you do contest against those very strong teams, of course, you are going to have to seize every little thing you can get your hands on. Whereas Misfits, I actually think, pleasantly surprised. Is he smiling over me? Hey, Gyoto.
He's flaming you. You can't hear him.
He's not flaming me.
He's not flaming you. He's shaking his head.
Ooh!
All right. All I'm saying is, I don't know if this is allowed on broadcast, but if we can ever get a cage fight between Gyoto and Ender, I will gladly be first in line to commentate it.
You'll commentate that? Do you have experience commentating some sumo fighting?
That's
true. Back in the day? What did we call that again? That was some Euphoria bet, right?
The mid-season invitational
sumo invitational. Yeah.
First annual, and then we just stopped doing it.
That was the first content piece I was ever a part of.
There you go.
And then they had to cut me out of it because I hadn't been announced yet.
Oh, that's true. Wow.
I was just a spectator. Yeah,
and I think the thing is we look at both these teams, and obviously, once again, goalposts are different, and place in the standings is very different because it was a very, let's say, miserable week 1. For the side of Misfits Gaming. And now it did feel like they got their act together in week 2. Guys, we're filling time. I don't know if you've noticed. I don't know if the cameraman shifting back and forth gave it away, but we're just a few minutes away from Champ Select.
Having way too much fun up here.
And so now I'm, once again, as we get into this game, I think all I want to see from Misfits is pick a strategy and execute it. And if it blows up in their face, fine. But I think the strategy that we've seen from them recently, which is hey, Dan, you're going to go late game. Febiven, you're just going to get a conventionally good pick, like the LeBlanc or the Kiana, and we're just going to kind of see what happens. I want more from both sides, I think it's safe to say.
I mean, Misfits yesterday, they showed us a whole lot. Went deathless in their game up against Xerxe. Very clean stuff from them. And of course, as one of these teams that's trying to break into the middle of the pack, break away from that as well, with a couple of wins the past few games. Team is definitely on the upward trajectory, but this is going to be probably one of the most difficult opponents they have faced since that week 1 when they faced both Fnatic and Rogue. So this will be a true testament.
Does the music play every time? This is such a banger. I love it. All right, LEC, game 4. I completely agree, Ender. My biggest dream is that one day we'll play that music and then pause immediately after. Just to master suspense truly is an art form. But there's no pauses here as it is Misfits versus Origen. Misfits on the blue side. Instant Soraka ban. That's right, folks. No more of that on the LEC stage. We'll see what Origen want to go for here. For now, it is the standard bans. Champions like the Akali. Maybe the Syndra going to hit the table soon.
You know, Dracos, I think Misfits have a great strategy here. And as you said, that's going to be the Syndra taken away as well. Something Upset was willing to flex into the bottom lane. very recently. So Misfits already with some good ideas in this draft, but then your eyes go towards, the bot lane picks, the Senna, the Aphelios, the Misfortune that are all available. We're not seeing that same sort of triple ban strat that Rogue went for in game number 3. And of course, at the same time, the junglers with Elise and ban away here, your eyes look towards the perhaps the Jarvan. The Gragas has been a big pick for Xerxe as well.
Yeah, and really curious to see what Razork wants to go for here, what his option is going to look like, and if Misfits Gaming are going to pay any respect over to Xerxe's champion pool. Have the luxury of first pick, and with no 80 carries left standing, there's really no pressure to pick one in first rotation, to use your blue side first pick for that. Because bot lane is actually a huge question for me. Obviously, anytime you look at these teams, Alphari will be interesting to see. Jarvan now, of course, banned away. But Destiny versus Denyk is both Tahm Kench players, both very focused on kind of protecting their 80 carries over the last few games. But we've also seen more of the playmaking picks kind of come out.
Yeah, sort of the bundle you get with supports nowadays. It's Tahm Kench, Braum, and then Nautilus on the other side. Now, with this Jarvan ban away, this says to me first pick Gragas for Misfits Gaming, especially with a set ban on the red side coming through from Origen. Not a huge fan of that, especially when the Gragas is up and available. So now, Xerxe, the expectation would be for him to go back to one of his more comfortable picks, which would be the Rek'Sai, sort of that tier below the top 3.
Ooh, Aphelios. Do they follow it up with a Braum pick here? Obviously, very strong laning duo.
Ooh, actually, I would actually really like the Braum here because both Braum works very well with Aphelios, can stack that passive super fast with the Crescendum. Also works very well against the Gragas, and if you assume that it is going to be a Senna coming through for Bvoy in the bottom lane, him and Denyk have loved this Senna Braum 2 versus 2.
Ooh, this would be interesting. Zyra Khan locked in now for Bvoy and Denyk. A big jump in responsibility. Normally it's been the Braum and the Tahm Kench just protecting Bvoy on a traditional hyper carry. Now it's going to be a little bit more about the engage. Bvoy going to get some tools to defend himself, but not nearly the get out of jail free card that we've seen in the Tahm Kench.
And this really takes me back to the opening game between Origen and Fnatic, where of course it was the Aphelios locked in for Reckless's side, and then these 3 picks came through from Origen. So ability to play around this bottom lane, a lot of CC lock there too, to make sure that Alphari, if he doesn't get given a very strong peeling support, is going to be exceptionally vulnerable. And then if it is a Braum later on in the draft, that's where I say, Dan, the GP has to come through.
Yeah, now we're going to see. Because I imagine Misfits Gaming should be willing to ban the Braum out. Of course, Ornn, I think, falling a little bit in priority this week, but can still be picked up, giving over Ornn. Plus, the Braum never feels super great, especially on a composition that may want to dissuade some of the Aphelios fighting. But I love what Origen have done with their jungle mid. This feels so incredibly powerful. The setup from either the Qiyana or the Elise is so good. And I think it's going to be a difficult mid lane matchup now for Febiven, as we do see the Pantheon as well as the Nautilus banned away.
Yeah, this is going to be a difficult one, especially the split damage profile of Elise and Qiyana. You can often, what I see this combination do is Qiyana leaves mid lane, looks like she's roaming, and then both she and Elise come from opposite sides as the enemy mid laner, thinking they're just there to clear the waves, gets instantly deleted. So that's definitely something Origen can look to do themselves. And by banning away both the Pantheon, that could be very good up against this Qiyana, as well as the LeBlanc with her innate mobility, that basically removes a lot of these safer options that Febi could farm safely.
And the 2 champions that I've loved to see Febiven on so far have been the Qiyana and the LeBlanc, and now both are effectively taken away. Giving a lot of respect over to Alphari here, however, as they do ban away the Camille, and it's an instant Thresh lock-in.
Yeah, so I think the Thresh is smarter than the Braum here. Primarily, Braum doesn't love the matchup up against the Rakan, and this Thresh, combined with the pick power of a Qiyana and a Elise as well, is going to give them a lot of tools to start fights come mid-game.
Diana could be the option. Of course, with the Rod of Ages early, she will be quite tanky, a bit harder to burst down. Can offer some more bruisery items to survive the onslaught here. The Aatrox too, but the blind pick Aatrox means Alphari gets his pick of the litter in terms of optimal counter options here.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they didn't want to go for the GP, but I think the Camille ban in the second phase sort of telegraphs that they do want to go for the Aatrox. That's been the consistent counter up top side.
Have we traded one poison in the top lane for another poison? Can we never be free? 10-2? Come on. There we go. Okay, all right. Order's been restored. False alarm. League of Legends is still being played, not that other game where Sona and Soraka go in the top lane. I was nervous.
League of Legends is safe.
Okay,
We're saved.
Bring me back.
All right. Here's the deal. There's a lot of different moving pieces in this game. I think Misfits have tons of dive options. We're talking AoE effects with Diana's new ultimate, coming around on a flank too with a Gragas or an Aatrox. They have so many ways to access Alphari's upsets Aphelios in the backlines can definitely give him a really, really tough time. And that's where I think Origen are less focused on finding pure team fights and much more about looking for picks, activating this wow, Mordekaiser in the top lane as well. That's the one. Alphari's throwing me for a loop here. No, Alphari too, look for 1v1s against the Diana as well as the Aatrox in the top lane come these later phases when he can go into a side.
And unlike our last game, it's not as clear as one team wants to go forward and one team wants to go backwards, because while clearly we want to see some dive from the side of Misfits, there's not as many peeling tools on the side of OG as we might expect, but definitely two very powerful compositions. Have to see how the bot lane plays out as we finally get to see Misfits try their hand at the Xayah Rakan, something I'd love to see for Bvoy and Denyk. Will they have the coordination necessary as we get ready? Get into our fourth game of the day, Origen versus Misfits. That's right, folks. I made the joke earlier, and I
knew you were going to jinx it.
Caster cursed it. Epic music, instant pause. Here we are.
Can't believe it.
We're just doing it. We're excited. We're living for it. wait a second. That's true. That's you, Ender Weird Champ.
That's me. I know what's happening in chat right now.
You need to legally change your name. Christy Frierson is dead. Long live Ender Weird Champ.
Do you think I go with Ender Weird Champ, or do I just change like my tags? Instead of being like Christy Ender Frierson, I could just be Christy Weird Champ Frierson. Then
what would they? Then they'll just spam Weird Champ. They won't spam Ender Weird Champ.
Yeah.
Like no one will know it's associated.
I'll ascend. I'll become one with the emo.
You'll become the emo.
I will become what I once hated.
That's enough of that. We've done the classic Ender's ego padding to kick us off and get us through the pause. Thank you.
Twitch chat will be going
Kit
for
Kat.
non-stop 5 minutes. I swear. They're good at it.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Thank you for your contributions to
You're
society, Ender. You're very much appreciated.
Just mind controlling all of them right now.
All right, here we go. I guess I just want to hear you talk more, because I'm going to ask questions about the jungle.
Okay.
Because Gragas at least is very interesting. We've got two AP junglers, and now I want to... Because immediately I think Kiana Elise, kill. That's what I think. But how is this actually going to play out?
Yeah, so here's the thing, is that... Diana, especially in early laning phase, when she goes up, she can obviously farm with Q from range, but if she ever wants to trade, she will leave herself vulnerable, and that goes both ways with the Kiana as well. So as two melee mid lanes, you always expect to maybe see a little bit more action around the center of the map. Now, note that Febiven opted into the teleport, so when we look later in the game, that gives Misfits the options to split up into a 1-3-1, or to allow Febiven to go split down towards bottom lane. But Nukeduck with the Ignite, as well as the fact that he's paired with an Elise, means the 2v2 from OG should be meaningfully stronger around this middle lane.
But of course, we get later and later, the value of the Gragas will increase, the value of Elise will in turn decrease. So a lot of eyes on the OG early game now, as Razork will get the gank here. And it looks like a lonely start for Xerxe. But I like this. Get willing to give up lane priority so that Upset and Destiny can be comfortable here. Walking with the Caliber on the extra range as well, just to ensure that they can just start to bully out, deny the generally powerful Xayah Rakan level 1, hit that level 2 first, which is incredibly crucial for both of these champions on the OG side.
Yeah, and if you, as the Thresh in this matchup, you can just walk up freely, like with a Flay, something like that, especially when level 2 comes around. Like, trades look real good. Hey,
Auto.
There it is.
It's only going to get better too as the level 2 and the Aphelios abilities become unlocked.
Yeah, and something we see a lot, actually, I think, from Mickey X when he plays the Rakan into this matchup is he starts with level E, like we saw Denyk do here, and he tries to use the extra range he has to auto-attack harass early on in the laning phase, and then sort of dash back, get the shield, and block a lot of damage. But because Thresh actually has range himself with his Lantern there, too, it means that he can't really have that same effect.
Ooh, and now they're just going to get bullied. And of course, Elise is on the bottom side as well. Gragas can't really afford to make a counterplay if he gets caught out. He definitely loses the 1v1. And Destiny already comfortable enough to just start fishing for these hooks.
Check this out. Xerxe knows that Febiven walked topside to place a ward, and now is coming in at a really unique angle. Febiven should not expect this, and his lane is slightly pushed away from him. So to step up to farm is dangerous, and his Q, he can't land every last hit with just Q.
Waterblade equipped, though, for Nukeduck kind of telegraphs the game.
All right.
And for those keeping up on the Nukeduck Champion Ocean narrative, one of my personal favorites, this is the first time he's played Qiyana, so another pick into the Ocean. But as a first-time Qiyana, he may have given away a little bit too soon that Waterblade was the option there. Ooh. Solid knock up there on the bottom side. All right, none of this too crazy consequential. We see bot lane doing well in push. We see mid lane basically even, and we see top lane getting hard push. So OG generally seem to be coming out on top in a lot of these early game exchanges. Not too surprising when you compare the Gragas to the Elise, but gotta hope to see Razork get something done here in a few minutes.
Yeah, well, bot lane is going to be the target for him for sure, because as you can see, OG's duo has pushed up pretty substantially, and he should know Xerxe walked top lane because he split straight through that middle lane. So smart of Upset and Destiny to back away right now because the lane was in a bit of a tough position, and I'm honestly surprised to see Razork not really want to go for anything.
Not opting to commit, not wanting to try anything. Of course, if you do try to force and it turns against you, very disastrous. Aphelios will snowball very quickly out of control. Maybe wants to wait till the level 6 is under his belt, but it does mean that the rest of his lanes will suffer a certain degree as Alphari remains uncontested on top.
This is a big win for OG. Not just the CS being denied in top lane, but also if we pan down to bot lane very quickly, even though Upset went for a quick recall, he hasn't really been denied that many minions. I think maybe 2 or 3 melee minions in the front line, so he's going to come back with an extra Dorian's Blade now and be able to pick up this entire minion wave. You can see he's only down 7 CS right now.
Connects to Bvoy. The follow-up is there. Upset can look to get the snare. A lot of members going to be slowed there by the onslaught, but they're not going to fully commit to the play.
Well, that's big as well, because delaying the reset now from Bvoy and Denyk means that Upset got that recall off completely for free. He's going to have this wave cleared before they actually go back, so now minions are going to be able to be denied.
I feel like Destiny should have just pushed that button a little bit sooner, but now Xerxe's here as well. They could try to play for extra plates if they want to get aggressive, but it looks like they're just happy to keep taking very favorable recalls. Should be able to deny at least 3 or 4 creeps here, as they will be moving into the tower uncontested.
Yeah, so Upset just going to place his control ward, I believe. Not actually clear away the vision, because he wants to get his base off with a lot of time on his hands, because he doesn't want to get denied anything on the other side, and I think that's correct.
And we were arguing about Bvoy yesterday. One of the things that we talked about was his laning stats being very underwhelming. Now I was like, ooh, team fighting damage looking a lot better. We're not in the team fighting stage. We're at the laning stage, and you can already see that due to Upset's kind of just superior wave control, he is being denied a decent amount of CS, is being forced to back and lose experience.
And it is something you can do. Go for these very early recalls, especially when your jungler's not on your side of the map, knowing that the wave's going to push back in towards your side, and you effectively lose nothing for that trade. And now, with yet another recall, the wave is going to stack up and push in towards his side again. So as long as Bvoy or Denyk primarily isn't able to use that pressure with the wave pushing to get a roam and invade the enemy jungle or anything like that, there's really not much of a cost to this.
No. Upset, though, has to be careful. Denyk not going to take the bait. Destiny will come out, though, but they were able to lay down a lot of vision control around that mid lane. Ping's coming out. Xerxe and Nukeduck both in the darkness. Level 6 for Nukeduck. Waterblade equipped as well. The setup here. If Denyk and Bvoy try anything at all, they will instantly die.
Yeah, and right now, Upset has frozen the wave right in front of his tower right there. So Razork has to come into this bottom lane. There will be a ward to spot him out if he leaves this bush. And then it's just a question of, yeah, he just is able to walk up and allow them to fully push that wave in. Upset will give them the respect they need, and that should bounce the wave at the end.
Hook does come out, just trying to extend this play a little bit longer, buy a little bit more time. Once again, in the meanwhile, Mordekaiser still just bashing in onto the Aatrox top side, getting level 6 way ahead of Dandan, who just ticks over now. OG building small advantages. Nothing too great at this stage, but coming out on top in a lot of these pressure plays.
I'm just pretty happy with how OG have played this all around. Like to see what we got out of them. Now Xerxe, I wonder if he wants to make a play early for the Drake. Of course, his blue buff did just spawn, but he knows Razork has been on the map for quite a while. Doesn't have a great reset, just, you know, boots and a couple of jungle items, whereas Xerxe was able to upgrade into blue smite, has the amp tome as well, so any fight's going to be looking very, very good for him. This means all the vision that got put down is very futile from Misfits, because now without the item advantage, it's just going to get immediately cleared away.
I do like the Dandan's bothering to contest the Raptors there. Xerxe, they're going to move in and start to contest some buffs. We'll not be able to get it, as Razork does finish that one off, but Upset and Destiny just continuing to poke, just continuing to harass. here under the tower. Things will get easier as level 6s start to come in for the Rakan and the Xayah.
This is the type of a game where top lane feels so relevant, right? Like, they're not going to see any ganks there anytime soon, it doesn't feel like. I would honestly just tell my top laners, like, hey, Dan, go farm my Grump. Hey, Alphari, go farm my Krugs. You know, in between minion waves here, just let them get some more experience because those camps are kind of so far removed from where the action is happening, which is the posturing around bottom lane and the trying to fix some of those lane states.
They both just whiffed like 4 skills back to back.
You know?
That was
Sometimes
excellent. Sorry. I mean, but it's fine. But this is the thing about top lane staying an island that I always find really interesting is that it's fine.
It's not an island. It's not an island because his lane is ruined.
Comes the Predator. Instant flash out from Alphari, giving that respect.
Yeah, I was just about to say it too. I'm like, yeah, he's got a couple extra range minions that he needs to in his wave. And all of a sudden gets put in a lot of... Oh, no.
Alphari, the repeat
Razork
gang.
just hit level 6.
The pull back there. Alphari going to try to take him into the death realm if he can, but he's already been knocked back. Who does he pull with him? He's buying time. He's waiting. Diana's on the way up, too. Alphari must know he's already dead. Just retreating here, and first blood dropping down. Febiven not going to get an assist, but Misfits with a solid pickup.
Yeah, really nicely done by them because not only do they get that gank to happen in top lane, but they were also tracking Xerxe. The invade mission from Dan put down so many wards to spot the enemy jungler who was level 5, so Xerxe wasn't really comfortable to go for a counter gank. Misfits knew they had a window of time. They could make that play, and on top of it, their bot lane was going to be safe too. There wasn't going to be a response from OG.
And the Death Realm was on cooldown, but it has now come back. As Razork will try his hand fighting the Rift Herald and the Golem at the same time.
Oh.
But difficult start now for Alphari. I felt like he was pretty comfortable in that laning phase, but giving Aatrox even a single kill is going to make things much harder as we look back at this play.
I mean, it's just the lane state says it all, right? Alphari wants to walk up and clear the wave, but he doesn't have pressure coming from his mid laner or his jungler, so just staying in EXP range is a mistake. We saw Upset in a very similar position earlier on in this game make the correct choice, which was to back away, even though Razork didn't end up going for that gank. Alphari's decision had to be wait until Elise comes into my lane, and then we can help try to push it out.
And it's such an important timing window too, right? Because if the Death Realm's up, Gragas has just burned all his cooldowns. You Death Realm the Gragas, you either make it out or you kill the Gragas, right? So finding that window of opportunity, punishing Alphari, the repeat ganks, and while I think it's definitely safe to say Alphari should have just backed up and conceded and understood that, I like that he was willing to go for the second try there on the side of Misfits. However, as we look ahead, 10 minutes into the game, and this is a very different game than what we saw yesterday for Misfits. Obviously, Misfits Gaming playing versus Schalke. It was catastrophically one-sided. It was a Misfits highlight reel. If there was ever a time to have faith in Misfits, that was the time. The question is, are they going to be able to do the same thing against Origen today? I imagine a much closer game. Razork does manage to get away from the Cocoon.
Yeah, Razork was like, oh, there's a ward over this wall. Maybe I'm in a little bit of trouble. But yeah, Misfits were absolutely popping yesterday. Obviously, difference there in the competition with OG in this one too. So taking things a little bit slower, but already seeing them edging out a bit of an early lead is a very good sign for them. Now the challenge is going to be, can they continue to dominate or to push this lead forward? Because right now, they have centered a lot of their vision success around the top lane, putting deep wards in the side of Xerxe's jungle. And now, assuming that Xerxe is not actually on the map, they're just going to start at this Herald.
Took the waiting. Obviously, an excellent position for Kiana to fight.
Everyone's coming up here.
Destiny on the way. They might keep up the Herald, but they might just fish for the fight. Razork grabs that one, and they will back off. So OG punished a little bit here for playing slower. We do see the Umbral Glaive now come out from Nukeduck. He very focused on clearing the vision, but OG actually falling behind.
I do think the Umbral Glaive is going to be really big here for OG. Just the ability to continue to deny vision when you have an Elise, a Kiana, a Thresh on your team. This is going to mean that playing around objectives looks really good for OG when they're able to push out their waves, get vision in the enemy jungle, and then you have to face check them.
Don't worry, observers. We did see Denyk did completely miss that control ward.
I didn't see that.
You walked through.
I could be a pro player.
They followed him for a good 20 seconds. I feel like we got to talk about it. But there it is. Oh, God. That item is incredibly strong. Obviously sacrificing a lot of combat power, but just instantly sweeping.
Well, it's also the fact, not just being able to reveal wards, but when someone wards over a wall and you just bop it with one auto and it's just instantly gone. And then they're like, okay, wait 5 seconds. They place again. You hit it again. Then they have no wards left and they're just perma-tilted for the rest of the game.
Oh, I see. So the mental warfare.
Oh, it's mental warfare for sure.
Should be listed on in the stats section. That's what balances it out. All right, well, the worst ambush of all time is what we're witnessing right now. Because it has been spotted out.
Well, they don't know Razork's here.
Now they know. Ooh, but now Destiny and Upset are stepping forward. Good hook. trying to fake Denyk into thinking that he was the target. Razork must feel pretty comfortable. The knockback is there. Instantly the charm to follow, but now they can pull it out, but he can't click it fast enough. The lantern is not going to work. Clean execution. Febiven now chasing down Nukeduck.
That was just nasty. That's the second game in a row we've just had a beautiful cask with no CC setup whatsoever to punish Upset. And now they're spawning the Herald. Notice they're spawning it late here. So they're going to break 2 plates themselves because, of course, the resistances do increase as you take each consecutive plate. But the Rift Herald does true damage. So you drop it later on, and you instantly destroy the tower.
That's so much gold for Bvoy. And I got to say, Razork at the start of the week, we were looking back on his past weeks, a lot of bad plays.
Straight up.
But on the back of these last 2 moves, the gank in the bottom lane, the gank on the top side, Razork is looking clean today.
It's just beautiful right there. And they don't give Upset a chance to breathe. Destiny even tries to flash away to offer the lantern, but with the CC chaining and the beautiful way they just layered them one after another there, just didn't give them a shot.
And once again, such a small window of opportunity because Xerxe in the meantime was taking out the Scuttlecrab, was right above, was moments away. If Gragas isn't there, that play just does not work whatsoever, but finding that small window of opportunity, capitalizing on it, and now Misfits with a 2K gold lead 13 minutes into the game. I said this wasn't going to look like the Schalke game, and I might have been wrong.
Well, OG gonna have to run away from this one now too. Misfits came back onto the map, and with Nukeduck making a little trip up towards topside, they can say thanks for the leash, pick that one up. No problem now with Mountain Drake under their belts. And there's no objectives to play for anymore, so they can just calmly farm out the rest of these lanes and just continue to thwart any opportunities that OG are trying to look for.
Need to see what OG do next. They know they're in a deficit. They know they need to concede some objectives, but what is the call? For now, it appears to be playing around topside. Misfits, though, they smell it. It's obvious. It's the only remaining play on the map, so Dan should be backing off, but he's not concerned. As here comes Razork. If they overcommit, the knockback into the wall. Alphari going to try to pull him back. Razork! Just give this man player of the game. He's looking to finish it out. Alphari, though, trying to make it at least a 1-for-1, but Dan running for the hills. Alphari knows he dies in this. The most he can hope for is a kill on the Aatrox. Dan goes back with style over the wall, and why not? Just give Gragas another kill. Razork is out of control.
Well, OG are trying to make plays happen, but they are not working there whatsoever. Misfits able to read it. They said Nukeduck left the map for a little while. Where can he be? With Moby Boots and an Umbral Glaive, it's very clear he just wants to push mid and then roam and attack these sidelines. So Razork has a very good path back up into the top lane to stop that dead in its tracks.
And whoop, now the engage going to try to come out, but his whiffs. Upset follows up with a moonshot. The snare will be there. Kuhn will land as well. But
that's a QSS. That's QSS on Denyk already. Already.
I mean, you got to respect it. The man understands how he dies.
Yeah,
he saw it happen to Destiny in the G2 game. He does not want it to happen to him.
Right. Just look at OG's comp. All they have are pick tools, and they try to use it here. But again, Nukeduck's so much faster than Xerxe that this is a 2 versus 1 at the start, and that quickly turns around with both a teleport and Razork coming on in.
And just excellent use of the 3rd Q on the Dark Blade there from Dan. As he's getting stunned, as he's getting locked up, gives him a ton of healing, mitigates a lot of that burst damage. And this is really just style points. The fade away, backwards Darkened Blade as you watch your opposing top laner die.
Feels bad, man. Also interesting that Alphari went for the Rylays here. Usually we'll see them go for more, fighting spell. They're going to Leandries themselves for more damage. Maybe it would have helped him in that situation.
Here's my question, Ender.
Ask me.
We're 16 minutes in. 3K, 1 tower, 1 dragon. All in favor of Misfits. We'll hold that thought. The play now coming in. Nukeduck trying to finish this one off, but Febiven quite tanky. And sadly, all that lethality not amounting to much. All the extra health from Febiven keeping him alive.
Yeah. What's the question?
Do you believe in Misfits yet?
I mean, I really like their odds in this game. I think they have the much easier to execute team composition. Like, they are built to team fight through and through, and while OG do have good tools themselves, it's okay.
That's a golf clap. You can't hear that at home, but I'm golf clapping. Good job, Alphari.
My soul just drains whenever someone steals
100 gold in your favor. I mean, it's 2 top laners
and
fighting over
12
a
experience. It's the jungle.
Aw. Those numbers are so low. Not the 100 gold, but the 12. It hurts. All right. Now it's the... Wow. There you go. Well timed. Team.
Yeah, see, I thought you were going to ask me, is it a problem that Gragas has all 4 of his team skills?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I was honestly going to say no. I'm like, he's got the double pen right now.
none of the experience, but all the money. Razork stepping up. Xerxe thinks he has the flank, but there's 3 people here. Now Secret Agent Xerxe is going to try to escape. Or is he? It's the long con. It's Ocean's 11. The cocoon is landed. They want to find the follow-up. They're just going to force a flash.
Yep. Merc Treads Rush out of Febi means he can get out of that one no problem. Upset. Oh my.
Bvoy. Follow-up stun is there. Instantly going to be able to transform weapons. Fernum is there, and Denyk debating if he wants to go forward. Oh, we'll back off, but...
Okay, it's time OG need to make a play on Rift Herald right now. They have mid prio, they have top prio. Febiven was just seen taking a reset off the map, lost his flash as well, so this is a very good opportunity for them. Notice, though, Dan has teleport and has a ward to flank over on the side here, so things go really bad for OG if they get clumped up as 5.
And Hook's down now.
Deep TP.
Feels like he can come closer. Upset. Death Realm has come out onto Bvoy. He's isolated the 80 carry. Alphari's looking to turn this game back. Does not matter. What goes up must come down, and Bvoy now set to fall, but Alphari's still just going to back off. Ulti comes in. The flash away. The whiff. The miss. The lantern still there, though. Upset going to try to make his way out of this one. Knocked back by the cask. Will make it out to safety. A messy fight. Alphari with no ult. Has to be careful. In the meantime, Xerxe has bought a bit more time for the team as he's taking down the Rift Herald, and Destiny goes golden, denying the ult from Diana.
OG actually did a really good job there of soaking so many ultimates from Misfits. All the while, Xerxe made the call to stay on the Rift Herald. So what this means is that everything was blown. Misfits couldn't really find that way into the fight, and they just disengaged. Even though they had the numbers advantage, now OG have that Herald and could potentially use it to set up if the Dragon fight is delayed a little bit, because you can just drop that in mid lane, call a member or 2 of Misfits over, and all of a sudden, you have control into walking the river.
If Nukeduck doesn't kill him instantly, he whiffs the Q. Diana's on the way down. Nukeduck, what have you done? The knockback into the wall. Tries to buy a bit more time. Needs to equip a glass blade, but he already used a few of the abilities. Audacity doesn't even need it to take him out to safety. He will walk away, but my God, that could have been so
that was
bad.
ugly, Dracos, but he's all right. At the end of the day, though, they're still going to end up seeding this dragon instead of trying to use the Rift Herald in a clever way to gain some priority for themselves. Also down in gold still, so Misfits still with control, still favored in the 5 versus 5, but as we sort of mentioned before, they have a lot of really critical ultimates. The Gragas Cask, Diana's ultimate, of course the Rakan too, so they need to be able to use those effectively. Otherwise, in a very spread out and a very chaotic fight, that's where the Aphelios won't actually get bursted down. He'll just smash your face in with whatever color gun he has picked up. That's where Kiana and Mordekaiser really do look good too.
See if they can find the setup, though. For now, Misfits comfortably in control. Was not the cleanest exchange around the mid lane, but everything's still working out slowly but surely as OG try to find their way back in.
So right now, OG, I think, if they want to try and make plays themselves, it all has to come and be funneled through Nukeduck. He's in a pretty good position right now, and the game has his 2 lethality items finished off. And right now, there's absolutely 0 armor being built by Misfits. And I think as we get further, Zhonya's start to come in for both Razork and Febiven. You'll finally see an armor item come through from Dan too, I think, in the next 1 or 2. So that's where Nukeduck's value is going to diminish rapidly, as he doesn't have lethality to cut through all that armor.
Very true. Good news is now he has the Dustblade, a much more effective combat item as opposed to the Umbral Glaive, so maybe can hope to get one of those dream one-shot sort of Kiana team fights with a hyper-effective ultimate. Baron, of course, just spawning. Doesn't really feel like it's on the table for either team quite yet. Aphelios, of course, with the power to shred through it, but sadly, his team a little bit behind at this stage of the game. They can't afford to take the risk, so probably stalled out for a few more moments. Herald just going to be dropped and left on the bottom side. There's no plates to take, so they don't feel like committing for it.
That's really surprising to see, because Xerxe committed a lot of time down there. Now he's coming down for another follow-up play. It seems like both teams are going to be content pushing and trading these outer turrets in top lane and in bottom lane, but instead, OG just have to give that one up, even with the Rift Herald, which is so surprising, primarily because, as you mentioned, the Baron had spawned, so Xerxe didn't want to be caught down there for too long, but I don't think Misfits actually had the damage to be able to start it up right there.
And I'm going to be honest, not entirely sure.
Oh, hey, here we go.
Choice here. Slow the knockup. They're going to find the ult. Nukeduck waiting on the flank. Upset consistently trading his ult for the ult of the Xayah. But with Mordekaiser on the top side of the map, not really a lot of options for the side of OG.
So here's the thing about that trade right there is Upset's ultimate has about a 30-second lower cooldown than Xayah, so these types of trades do work very well. It's that long-range initiation. You can instantly make him pop it, even though he can cast it while he casts his own ultimate while he is rooted. Bvoy does lose that cooldown. Now, the thing is, when Upset does that again, even in that window, Bvoy has cleanse too, so it's not like this is going to be a perfect situation.
Lockdown is there. The knockback is there. Razork is playing out of his mind, but Upset will make it back to safety. Alphari off to the side, locking up Febiven, trying to get something done here for the team. Nukeduck waiting. Ultimate already used. Pretty easy matchup so far. Febiven wants to make it out to safety, but Xerxe actually going to grab the kill there. Looks like a spider.
Yeah, Xerxe just left a spider on the ground. Is like, I guess he's going to pop out here and instantly procs it on him.
Hey, need to catch up. Need that extra XP. So 1 kill in the favor of Origen. Could have been a disaster. Looked like it was. Of course, burning both of Upset's summoner spells. But they do manage to hold on in that exchange, giving up the mid lane tower in exchange for a single kill. That said, Misfits still pulling ahead, 3.5K.
Oh, no.
Now trying to finish it off, trying to turn things back around. Razork buys a bit more time.
Nukeduck is so dead.
He can't get really anything done. Dashes through, Grass Blade stealthed. They're trying to finish him off. Where did he go? There he is. Ooh, body slam back. Why not? 5-0-0 for Razork.
I mean, that's just a heads-up play there from Razork. Of course, he goes in. It looks a little silly, but the body slam takes priority over any of Kiana's dashes, so he actually wouldn't get hit by the damage because his belly is actually just so big. In this fight, he goes up, and it looks so good, but Upset flashes back into the sort of pullback there from Febi2, which drops him right onto the lantern. Of course, Febi in a lot of trouble, and this is a good example of how there's spiraling right on the ground. Yeah, he got him. Got him, Drake. Anyways, you can see how when these fights, they don't have the big wombo at the start, don't pan out into a kill. That's when Misfits all of a sudden immediately lose, it almost feels like, because all of a sudden you have all these really strong skirmish-type champions just popping off.
I do wonder if they immediately lose if they're not also trying to take a tier 1 tower, though. If we come into a fight around a major objective, Baron's starting to look juicier and juicier for the side of Misfits, if that will be the same case. Hard to see. OG, though, clearly grouping up, clearly much more conscious about kind of contesting this vision, contesting this control around the pit.
Yeah, I think the big thing there is that I'm going to value an Aphelios in a backline way more than I'm going to value a Xayah. So the assumption there is that Misfits don't layer up and instantly kill out Aphelios, and the rest of his team stays alive too, so he has some kind of a front line. If he's really not punished, he's going to absolutely dominate with the range, and honestly, with the ability to turn on you. Whether he has the long-range gun, he's going to hit you from a mile away, you're not going to be able to fight him. If he has the close-range guns, then you get on top of him, and then he kills you. So it feels like there's not a lot of answers into that.
No. Really not. Of course, why so many people have frustrations with the champions. There's never there never feels like there's a bad choice. There's an optimal choice and there's an okay choice. And now that's going to be the cocoon. Xerxe has to go up, has to come back down, is going to die instantly.
Oh, that's the worst possible case situation here for OG. They lose their jungler of all people in the river. So Misfits are already here onto the Baron buff. Dan has roamed up as well. OG, they might just have to give this one up.
Upset with ultimate. Bvoy with ultimate flash and cleanse. This should be a favorable fight. Dan trying to buy time, trying to buy space for the team. Alphari locking him out. Will he pulls him into the death realm? Nope, not going to use it. Still
now they can fight.
He can just go over the wall and kill the jungler. They can take the jungler out. They're just going to look to burst him down. OG, they want to try this. Razork locked in the death realm. And who's going to get the mid right now? Absolute disaster. When push comes to shove with nerves of steel, OG take the fight.
2 HP on the Baron right there. Razork misses it by just a hair, and even though they lost their jungler in the river, they turn it around. First getting the pick on towards Dan, and then just everything wiping Misfits in the river.
This was Misfits' game to lose, and they may have just lost it. Incredible turn from the side of OG.
Just a disaster for Misfits there. Everything going so well, and it felt like Dan trying to zone OG away from the pit, all of a sudden was like, wait a second, I'm in a 1v4. Now not only do Misfits give up that Baron buff, but also the third Drake of the game too, so they were close to the soul.
So Dan buying as much time as he can, 6K, you keep your eye on the Baron health, this is really the important thing. Dan burns his life for about 3K of Baron's HP, not ideal. Instant ult, snare, Alphari goes in, tries to lock Gragas in the death realm. Oh, can't cast it though.
Oh no, it's his trap. Does his trap steal it? Oh my god, his trap stole Baron.
What?
His gun. Upset's gun stole Baron. Like the one that's on the ground. The little turret. It's gross. Literally, what can't this champion do?
Okay.
In 200 years of our combined casting experience, we have never seen a turret steal a Baron.
That's true. I've never seen a turret steal a Baron before. Wow, I have actually played thousands upon thousands of games of League of Legends, and I've never seen that. That's I was praising OG. Moment. Nerves of steel. I said a lot of big words. It was none of those things. It was pure and total luck. But honestly, this is one of those moments where you throw your hands in the air and you say, we take those. See if Misfits, though, want to take anything back for themselves. That is the bottom side jungle. Now starting to push into this one. Predator has been used. Razork still feeling quite comfortable. 5-1-1 the scoreline.
Can't forget Misfits still very strong, built for the team fight. They now have Xerxe too from Denyk, so target access, the big problem for them, or the big goal for them rather, is to find Upset in these fights so he doesn't steal buffs anymore. And now that's going to help them get into that fight. But actually in the replay, while we were focused on that turret, a big deal was Denyk trying to find a flank, just got randomly hit by the Kion ult as it was like going around the wall. Like he wasn't even the target for it, but he got zoned away, so his CC was not relevant in any sort of turn there from Misfits as well. So that was the worst case situation for Misfits, where they were low from Baron, they weren't able to set up the fight properly like they would have wanted to. So and this next fight should look much better for them.
And this is the thing. This is the point in the game where now that OG have started to turn things back, that you start to look at what Misfits have done over the course of the game, and you go, Razork, I love that you were everywhere. I love that you were making plays. But now that OG are back in the game, I really wish those 5 kills were on some other players.
Yeah, and it's going to be more of a problem, I think, once people start to build MR, because right now I don't think it's actually the end of the world, because with this sort of, AP, setup, he just one-shots a lot of people. If I'm being honest, like, his full combo will take Upset to 20% HP, and then it just takes a little love tap from Bvoy, and Upset's going to be in trouble. The problem does come, again, when abilities don't hit. And that's where you value the consistency of having the gold on someone like an AD carry on a Xayah.
From 4K lead to being in a deficit. I mean, good composure from OG, finding the opportunity, but now for Misfits, has to be frustrating. For a relatively young team, all things considered. Have to see if they can keep their composure, keep it together. Because they still have the potential to execute in these fights and just absolutely dominate. Especially if they can, as you said, just kill Aphelios to start it off.
The other thing we're going to be looking for in the fights is which target Alphari is using his ultimate on. We saw, like, in the pit right there, he was trying to get onto Razork. I actually think you could even try to isolate, like, a Rakan from a team fight, or an Aatrox too, like any of these backline divers. The first one you think that's going to be big trouble for your team. Same can be said for Diana too. Deny her that big AoE team fight ultimate. Those are the sorts of targets that I think are going to be really big. Or at the same time, if you can pick off Razork before he's used his own ultimate, that's going to be a big deal.
Actually so powerful. And it's good that you bring up Rakan, because that's where the QSS first buy may look a little strange, but when you take into account, but when you take into account that you're against a Mordekaiser, it makes a lot more sense, and it means that that's kind of a guaranteed engage, guaranteed disruption on the side of the Rakan. Same cannot be said for the likes of Bvoy, for the likes of Febiven. The options aren't that quite as clear there to stop the Death Realm from coming through.
So OG, they have a lot of firepower, especially if we look at the 2 mid laners. I think it's a pretty substantial lead for Nukeduck over Febiven in terms of overall gold, reaching almost 2K, which is, I mean, lethality items are very cheap, so he's sort of springboarded ahead in that regard and is approaching his 4th now, just going for the full one-shot potential. But he can't really play side lane. Yes, he has Moby Boots, so he can get around the map very quickly, but for him, it's more about playing inside the enemy jungle, like he is now.
Just chasing down Dan. And of course, with the Umbral Glaive, just knows that he has not been spotted. Have to keep your eyes on Upset's ultimate, however. Definitely one to watch, especially with Gravitum out. The long-range engage options are very much present for the side of OG. I like that Xerxe is going for the full damage build here.
That's a Rabadon's coming.
Yeah, wow. Rabadon's coming through. I feel like his clear objective is to just one-shot the enemy Xayah. But also not a ton of MR outside of the Tabby. Or not the Tabby, the Merc Treads.
Yeah, not a bunch of resistances, in all honesty, on the side of Misfits. This is a very glass cannon game, outside of, like, maybe Alphari up on the top side.
Febiven locked up. Stun's going to come through, going to hit a few more members of the team. Febiven now has to run for the hills, trying desperately to survive, going to make it over the wall, but now I feel like OG get access to the pit. This should be their 2nd dragon. Just about uncontested. Well played by the side of Nukeduck. As you said, springboarded back to the game now. Very, very good in the 1v1.
Yeah, very close hook coming through from Destiny right there. That would have been the start to a fight, because Febiven had gone back to base.
Here we go! That's the fight that you wanted. Instantly they start to turn. Upset still uncontested on the backline, but it doesn't matter. 2 quick kills picked up. Baron is alive and well, and Febiven is on the hunt. The pullback, the damage coming in. Upset desperate to survive on this one. Backing off now. Trying to grab that one. Misfits just going to barrel down the mid lane. They're going to get a lot off of this. Just throwing down the ult, trying to poke, trying to harass, trying to buy time. But Misfits are not being dissuaded.
Oh, Upset was trying to clear away the minions, but it's not going to be fast enough. Misfits get the tower and get the inhibitor as well. There's still 30 seconds on the death timers of the rest of... Wait, you have to hit it still, guys. Okay. Now there's 20 seconds on the death timers of OG, so the Baron may be a little bit risky with the TP on Alphari, but I still think they can just go ahead and start this one up.
Question is, what does Xerxe get done in the meantime? Walking down, it would appear, trying to get rid of this vision, trying to cut some of these waves, but if he wants to contest this, you can't imagine Misfits are going to make the same mistake twice. They're not going to let that Aphelios turret steal another one.
Last time it was a disaster, but there was a Keon ult wrecking them inside the pit. Now it's just Xerxe.
They're just going to get the Baron. Yeah. The TP's too late. It's not enough. Can they get a follow-up fight? It does not look like it. OG lost everything in that exchange. Misfits are right back in the game.
Yeah, really heads-up play there from Misfits. Even though Febiven almost went down, he still had TP, so found a really nice flank. Good initiation there from Denyk and Razork as well. The only consolation prize for OG is going to be that mid tower. They're going to sweep away a lot of these jungle camps too, and then try to set up a pick, because remember, OG looks strongest not when they're engaging or getting engaged on as 5 members, but instead camping inside of the fog of war and making sure that they can isolate members of Misfits.
Ping's coming in on the top side. Caution pings on the bottom side. They know that OG are in the jungle. They want Febiven to push in, get them a bit more information on the map. He will pull back. All of OG playing this one very safe. Alphari sort of being used as bait at this point. Destiny there with the lantern. Ready if need be. Ooh, and just honestly such a tense game. I feel like we expected both of the games that we saw so far, this game and the one before, the ones that we've cast under, to be incredibly one-sided, and they've been so close.
Yeah, I mean, Misfits doing a very good job here of keeping competitive and actually gaining a big lead over OG. Now just using that pressure through mid lane, pushing forward those super minions, and utilizing this TP from Dandan to come into top with double cannon minions, so many range creeps as well. This push is going to try and knock down that inhibitor tower.
Question is, what guns does Upset have? Does he have the graviton? Does he have the setup? He can't just use the abilities to burn through ammo, but it's a long time before that just allows him to default swap a gun. Big damage, of course, on the blue ultimate, but...
Oh, that's the wave clear gun.
There it is. Death Realm coming out.
My!
Going over the wall. He's not afraid to get this one kicked off. Cask has come out. Ping's coming in. They're trying to track exactly where Alphari go. They have vague information. They're there. Huge combo! And that's exactly what you want, but still Misfits are not dissuade. Bvoy starting to turn this one around. Upset, desperate to hold on to this fight, but it's incredibly close. It's incredibly back and forth. The ults come out. The feathers are pulled back. That's the double kill. Dan is going wild in the back line, dunking down on the OG Dreams as Nukeduck flashes to safety. As Xerxe goes up in the air and immediately gets taken out. Misfits are going to move into the base and end the game. What a fight.
Misfits just turn it around right there as Alphari tries to go up big, but without anyone in to defend the base, Misfits smash in that team fight with the superior composition, and now Nukeduck has nothing he can do.
Trying to buy a bit more time, trying to get something done, but it's just his life that's going to be given up. Desperately trying to bait. It's a long, slow goodbye, but that's going to do it. Misfits finding the win. They tie Origen's scoreline. What a way to end their week 3.
I came into the week and I asked Misfits to prove something. Beat a team that wasn't, mangling around in the middle here, and they show up against OG and they look very, very good. From the early game, mid game, there was one major hiccup around the Baron buff, but even then, they were able to recuperate and bounce back, and that is the sign of a good team in the making.
I mean, you love to see it.
1, 2, 3, fight it!
The smiles, the happiness, they're jumping out of their chairs before the Nexus has even died. A difficult match for Origen. Gonna be left feeling a little bit empty after that one. But for Misfits, I mean, just incredible. Sometimes I wonder if they just don't tell us that it's scripted, because we're like, Razork, got to see more from him. Bam, Razork pops off. Denyk, uncertain what to think. What does he do? Plays an incredible recon game. Beautiful, engaged in the mid lane to help the team close out. And really, if we can't decide who should be player of the game, you should do it at home. On Twitter, @LEC is the place. Razork, Bvoy.